Hello, my name is Daisy Daniel. I am a personal resilience life coach, and today I would like to bring a topic that's very dear to my heart. And the title of this video is, You Know Something's Wrong, but You Don't Know What It Is. There are many women and men that fall into this category because they get into relationships being very trustworthy, having a lot of faith, having a lot of love for the person that they're with. And the furthest thing from their mind is that their loved one would hurt them, would intentionally hurt them. And even if it's not intentional, would continue to hurt them without seeking any help, without seeking any therapy or any counsel. It takes people a very long time to figure out what it is that's happening to them. If you are one of those persons that you feel that something is very wrong in your family, in your home, and you don't know what it is, I would like for you to consider some of the things I'm going to be sharing today. Today I would like to bring up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is something I learned years ago when I was a psych student, and then when I was in the classroom as a teacher, it is a chart that we would refer to. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs was a chart that we were taught to help us understand children, because there are times when children go to school, they don't thrive, they don't do well, and it's because their basic needs aren't met. And I've always liked Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and today I would like to just expand on it a little bit and see if we could help you figure out what is wrong in your relationship. So, I'm just going to read it from the bottom up. The bottom obviously is what we need the most. Then it kind of goes up in levels. We need all of these things actually. And I could show you Bible verses to support each one. Maybe we could do that on a part 2 for this video. But the first is physiological needs. That is food, water, warmth, and rest. In other words, having a home. And that is a very important thing for people. It's a very important thing to have in order to feel stable and to feel secure and to feel safe. Right now I am displaced from my home. My home actually flooded 2 different times within 2.5 months. And it has taught me a great deal. I've learned many things by the flooding of my home. But I will tell you, it's hard for me to get into my normal schedule and do the normal things that I would do because my mind is consumed with being displaced. So I understand what that feels like, to not have a place to call your home yet. And that will happen for me soon. But you need to have your physiological needs met. So let's say you're in a relationship and your spouse provides for you food, shelter, warmth, and rest. So you have a house, you have food that you could eat every day, you could go in your room and you could sleep and you could rest. So that's great. Those are basic needs. And I mentioned when I was a teacher that they would share this with us a lot, because we have to understand that there are children that go to school that are homeless, and their mind is going to be in a different place. Their mind is on surviving. It's not on the academics at the moment. Let's look at the next step in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The next step is safety needs. You need security and safety. Both of these, the physiological and the safety needs, fall under basic needs. So that is like basic. If you're in a relationship and for whatever reason these things aren't being provided for you, you need to think about that. If you are in a partnership, if you are in a family, and these basic needs aren't met, you don't feel safe, you don't feel secure, that's part of what you feel something is not right, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And it doesn't mean that you're poor, because there could be a family that's dirt poor that is happy and they love each other and they respect each other. And then you could have a rich family that lives in a mansion, but they don't feel safe or secure. Crazy, isn't it? It's true. The next level is belongingness and love needs. Intimate relationships, friends. It's important to connect with people. I know we all want to think that we're an island, that we don't need other people, but that is just not true. God made us to be interdependent with one another. The body of Christ is made up of many parts, many gifts that He has given all of us, and we use those gifts and work together and learn from each other and grow from each other. It's important to be around people that are supportive and help you with all these needs. This is part of being a human being. If you're in a relationship and you feel very intimidated, you don't feel safe, I want you to think about that. That is not how it's supposed to be. Doesn't mean that your relationship is perfect. Every relationship has its ups and downs, but you shouldn't be in pain emotionally, psychologically, or physically every day at the hands of someone else. That should not be happening. The next one is esteem needs, prestige and feeling of accomplishment. This falls under psychological needs, okay? Prestige and feelings of accomplishment. I've always loved psychology. This was the only career I wanted to get into. I ended up teaching, but it was more by default because I had homeschooled my children, and once I separated from my ex-husband, I needed something quick, and I knew that teaching could be something that would be quick to find and do. But my heart was always to help people. And that is why I opened up my coaching practice, My Moment Life Coaching Services. And to me, the words My Moment means the instant you realize that you deserve better and then embark on doing something about it. And as we talk about the hierarchy of needs, I want you to keep that in mind. If you feel like something is wrong and you're not sure what it is, look at each of these segments on this pyramid and ask yourself, the people you're around, the people you're living with, the people you're with 24/7, how do they fall into this paradigm here? Are they helping you at all with any of this? Or are you pretty much flying solo, like so many people do? And then the one after belongingness and love, which is very important, having belongingness and love needs is very important. You need people in your life that genuinely love you. Not that they say they love you. Many people say they love you, but the way they treat you is the opposite of love. You don't feel it here at all. But I'm talking about people who truly love you, who truly are looking out for you and care about you. That's what I'm talking about. After belongingness and love needs comes esteem needs, prestige and feeling of accomplishment. I love the career I went into of psychology, but I've had to pay a price to have this as a career. I've had family members actually tell me that they think psychology messed my mind up. I mean, you wouldn't go up to a nurse and say, you know, studying medicine has messed your mind up. But because psychologists, I in particular went into social psychology to study human behavior and why people do the things they do, it's easy to judge and say, wow, you know, all psychologists are wackos, all psychiatrists are crazy, all therapists are crazy, that's why they become therapists, life coaches, they're crazy. When you start hearing things like that from people, that is a red flag, okay? If they can't even respect the career of choice, as long as it's not something illegal that you're doing, if they cannot respect your career of choice that you feel very passionate about, that is a huge red flag. They are not helping you at all with esteem needs. Remind yourself of that. You went into a career for a reason. There was something that drew you to that, whether it be a calling, a passion, something. You would not invest 4, 6, 8, 10 years of your life studying something if that didn't mean something to you, if there wasn't a purpose in that. Keep that in mind. After esteem needs comes self-actualization, and that is achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. And here on the side, that falls under self-fulfillment needs. Self-fulfillment to me means fulfilling God's plan for your life. If there are people in your life that are pulling you away from what God has called you to do, the passions you have, the things you love, that's a red flag. Think about that. If you're feeling like something is wrong and you don't know what it is, ask yourself these questions. The people around me that I live with, that I'm closest to, also the people I work with, are they helping me with any of these basic needs, or are they pulling me away from it? There are degrees of toxicity in any environment. There are degrees of abuse, but it's always wrong. Whether someone beat you one time or 1,000,000 times, it was wrong that one time. Whether they yelled and intimidated you one time or 10,000 times, it was still very wrong that one time. And you need to be aware that that is not how God expects you to be treated. God doesn't do that to us. He doesn't abuse us. He doesn't yell at us. He doesn't intimidate us. He doesn't scream at us. He doesn't hit us. He doesn't psychologically mess with our brains. But abusive people do. If you are going through some confusion and you know something is wrong but you're not sure what it is, I would like for you to ask yourself some questions, hard questions. And if the people closest to you are not helping you with any of this stuff, it's time that you seek help for yourself and that you start caring about yourself enough to seek help. I can't tell you how many women I know have met that they will stay in an abusive relationship because they have their physiological needs met. Take it. It is important. Look at how wide it is. They're all important though. There's a verse in the Bible in 1 Timothy that says, if the man in the home or the woman does not provide for their own family, whether it be extended family and immediate family, they are worse than an infidel if they don't provide. And God isn't just talking about providing physiological needs. Of course, that's a given. You obviously live with people. You have a home, whether it's big or small. But what's the environment in that home? What does it feel like to live in that home 24/7, day in, day out? I don't know about you, but I'd rather live under a bridge by myself in peace than to live in a mansion where there's different forms of abuse going on. They put up with having physiological needs met at the expense of their safety, their love needs, their esteem needs, and fulfilling God's plan for them. That is a very high price to pay in order to have food and shelter. Very high price to pay. So far here in America, we still have our freedom. That could change, but we still have our freedom where you could work, you could provide for yourself. There are slews of agencies that will help you get up on your feet and will help you start over. As fearful as that is, I want you to know that help is available. I am here for you. I am a personal resilience life coach. I've walked through these things myself personally. I counsel women who have gone through things like this. And I will tell you, it is better on the other side of abuse, much better. And even though abuse may continue in different forms, it is not the same. than being knee deep in it 24/7 with no change, with no hope. And you that I am speaking to, you know who you are, men and women. You are good people. You trust. You trusted. You still trust. You love. You genuinely care. You care about your children. That's why you stay in it. But let me tell you, they're going to suffer either way. Whether you stay in it or you leave, they are going to suffer. It is not the way you're supposed to live. It's not the way you're supposed to be treated. Ask yourself these difficult questions today. I am available for a consultation, no charge to you. Please go to my website at www.mymomentlc.com. I would love nothing more than to talk to you about these things. And I know they're not fun topics. I know they're hard to wrap your head around, and I know they're hard to confront. And it's a fearful thing. I get it, I know. But you are worth fighting for. You are worth figuring out what it is that's going on that's so wrong that you don't know what it is. You have a right to know, and you have a right to change it. And if that person doesn't want to change, then you have a right to live in peace. God calls us all to peace. You do your part, but they have to do theirs. And remember that all these needs are important. All of these needs. Physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love needs, esteem needs, self-actualization needs. I hope you keep these in mind. I look forward to meeting you and helping you in any way that I can. God bless. Bye.